We just secured dock lines for the first time in almost a year, and somehow managed to get through most of one of Will's famous impossibly long to-do lists. Unfortunately, there was no fresh water on the dock, so Appa is still a dirty boy, but we're overjoyed to have a full galley once again, and are feeling ready to get back out on anchor. Dock life isn't for us, but when the opportunity presents itself, you might as well take it. In true nerd fashion, we have this philosophy about side quests. They're how you get the best weapons, the most XP, and the highest skill levels in the average RPG. They're the bread and butter of characters like Sir Lancelot the Brave and Sir Galahad the Pure.
I think I was. It's you, you're in terrible peril. Look, let me go back in there and face the peril. No, it's too perilous.
Even Sir Robin, the not quite so brave as Sir Lancelot, had his fair share of epic subplot. While for us, sailing around the world has always been more like the quest for the Holy Grail, we try to embark on these unforeseen adventures often. Sometimes they're wild and crazy, sometimes they're just outright confusing.
5s and 3s. Sometimes I think they're 6s. Who knows?
And sometimes absolutely nothing goes right, and you're sure the French taunter is around the corner waiting to tell you your mother was a hamster.
And your father smelt of elderberries.
But you always walk away feeling like you learned or gained something in return for taking the chance. Alas, the plot rolls on as we continue our quest to sail everywhere. We're Will and Em, and we're living on the hook in our sailboat, Appa. After years of plotting our escape from the Fire Nation, aka our day jobs, we're finally home free on the open seas. Living off the land and learning how to take life at a much slower pace, we're embarking on our monomyth with our trusty sidekick, Ludog. Grab a beer, kick your feet up, and let us take you on this wild ride aboard our sailing bison. This week, we're finally venturing into the deep north of the Sea of Cortez. From what we've gleaned from both our cruiser's guide and fellow sailors, we're anticipating some serious wildlife exposure and the continuation of extreme remoteness. Our slip reservation in Rosalia has come to an end, so we're heading back across the channel to Sweet Pea, where we're awaiting our weather window to make the 80-mile trip into the Northern Sea. The trip could technically be taken in 2 parts, with a single anchorage popping up about halfway through, but Trinidad is known for blustering west winds funneling through a break in the Los Gigantes Mountains during this time of year. These winds, referred to as elefantes, often occur in the middle of the night. We would rather sail through the night and be able to rest in our final destination than take the chance of getting little to no sleep in an uncomfortable anchorage, only to have to sail another 40 miles. We're in this one for the long haul.
We're moving again.
Today's moving day.
Moving day. We are surrounded by bees.
Lots of bees. We hear there's even more bees where we're going.
Yay.
It's a 100-mile sail that we'll go on today. If we were to go about 4 knots, we'd make it in about 18 hours. We typically don't go a whole 4 knots. We're usually like 3.5 when we're chilling.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been calling it about 24 hours.
We're expecting to get in hopefully around sunrise tomorrow. So we pull into the bay in the daylight. But it's a pretty wide open bay. So even if we get in and it's still dark, we should be fine.
Yeah. The boat's all ready. We did about 20% more in our pre-go checklist. Just because it's a longer sail.
Mm-hmm.
So it's well and truly checked.
Yeah.
She's looking good. I broke the autopilot yesterday. I then immediately fixed it, so we'll see how that goes.
We think.
Yeah, we think. Yeah, think we'll turn the engine on?
Skedaddle.
Skedaddle.
Are you ready back there?
Yep.
Coming up. All right, anchor's up.
Okay.
Despite the fact that we've been sailing together for a long time, we still occasionally struggle with communication. Will is used to being our captain. Before Appa, he was almost exclusively our helmsman, and I ran the lines. For us, generally speaking, as long as it isn't a pressing issue with an obvious solution, when someone is assigned as helmsperson, even if they're not the true legal skipper, they are in charge of the vessel. No sails should be adjusted without their approval, the course should not be changed, even if the autopilot is engaged, and messing with the waypoints on the chart plotter is a no-no. I believe the term for breaking these rules is mutiny. In this specific situation, we were preparing to open our sails. I had been assigned helmsperson as we brought the anchor up, so I was paying close attention to our charts, the wind speed and direction, and a safe course out of the anchorage. Will, used to being the helmsperson, adjusted our course on the autopilot in an attempt to put Appa's bow directly into the wind so that he could raise the mainsail. I was prepping to open the headsail, so I didn't see him changing our course, trusting that we were on the same page. As I looked towards the bow, frilling and port sheet lines in hand, I realized we were no longer on the course I'd set, and we were still in a tricky area of the bay, where heavily dispersed rocks extended almost a mile off the shoreline. In Will's redirection, he'd pointed us directly into the danger zone. I think he could sense my confusion and concern. And words were had.
We are near rocks. Don't go directly into the wind right now.
Do you need to change course? What do you mean near rocks?
This whole area right here off the island is full of rocks. It says so on Navionics, our charts.
I don't understand. Do we need to go to port immediately?
I did go to port immediately. You had us pointing into the wind.
Okay.
And we are headed right here on the map. There's rocks. So we are now not pointing into the wind anymore.
Got it.
It often takes me a few minutes longer to process these changes than it would Will, because I lack the confidence in my own still growing skills to trust my gut. Deep down, I knew we were headed towards imminent danger, but trusting in Will's own experience and confidence, I wasn't sure if it would be callous to call out the changes he'd made. It's moments like this where I remind myself of the old saying, "F your feelings." Our safety was on the line. We corrected course, no harm, no foul, and raised the sails without incident. But it just goes to show that no matter how long you've been sailing or how well you know your crew, it's important to be vigilant and always communicate your actions.
Sorry, I got a little frustrated though there because I was trying to keep the boat on course while also putting up the camera and opening the head sail, and then you got behind the wheel as soon as I got everything set, pointed us directly into the wind, and then walked away from it. So I was a little frustrated. I know what you were trying to do, but we're also not in a spot where we can really turn into the wind. But I didn't have to snap at you about it, so I apologize.
All good. Shouldn't change your course. How much wind is it?
8 knots.
Nice.
Yep. Sweet. Still doing 4.8. We're sailing! Yeah, this is really perfect. Exactly what we needed. We've got 10 knots on a beam reach right now, going directly on course. Both the sails are up, the engine's off, the line's in the water, that dog is sleeping. We're doing great. Oh, where's my coffee? Coffee?
Oh, do you want to try autopilot?
Hmm?
We ought to try autopilot.
What's our biggest risk here? I bet, man, I can't talk this morning. I guess better to know whether or not it works now than try to turn it on at night and it up. Alright, let me get us a little bit more on course here. I veered off a little bit when I grabbed my coffee. Alright, it's the moment of truth for the autopilot. Everybody brace yourselves. We're on course.
You're doing just fine?
Cool. If that's the case, I'm going to let it go for a few minutes just to see, make sure it's not a fluke, you know?
So, right.
It looks like we're headed into some fog. God damn!
That thing took off running. Yeah, baby!
Did you hear the fish line? Did you hear the sushi call?
Alright, we get the gap. And knife ready. Before I reel it all the way in. It's definitely not fighting me as much. It's probably a little bit smaller.
Oh.
Come on, I'm fishing. Wow. This box is so big. Oh man, I think a big shark caught it. Oh.
Did it just take the whole thing?
A big shark caught my fish. It took the whole thing.
Oh. Did you see it?
Yeah.
I mean, okay, but if you were gonna lose it to something, a big shark is like pretty cool. That's such a bummer. I wonder what it was.
New lure. That's two that we've lost.
I know.
The first use. Alright.
Oh man. That sucks. Coming out of the fog though.
Nice. You okay?
Yep.
As if losing our dinner to another predator wasn't enough of a morale killer, as we emerged from the fog, the wind kicked up from 10 knots to 24. We really needed to take a reef, which means you make your sail smaller and therefore lessen the amount of wind resistance the sail takes on. On Nellie, we had 2 designated reef points, with additional lines running along the sail that were pulled to bring it down to the boom. On Appa, we have in-boom furling. Instead of simply releasing the main halyard and allowing the sail to fall and flake, this mechanical system winds our mainsail around a spindle, neatly rolling it into its stored position. As with any variation in boating systems, there are pros and cons. We technically have virtually unlimited reef points, meaning we can make our sail as big or as small as we see fit, but it also means we're at the mercy of the machine when it comes to making sail adjustments, and sometimes it doesn't wind onto the spindle the way that it should. So far, we've really enjoyed our in-boom furler. It makes for easier sail storage and deck tidying at the end of a voyage, and we love the afforded variability in sail area. But when you're in a real pinch, it's not a perfect system by any means. We have 2 options in this situation. Keep course, spill as much wind as we can, and attempt to furl the main while it's still under force. Or put the boat in irons, pointing our bow directly into the wind, and remove all force from the sail.
All right, ready to go into the wind?
Okay.
Let me know when you're about ready.
Okay. All right, going into the wind. Turning now.
Option 2 is typically our go-to. However, on this occasion, the sea state was so choppy that as we entered irons, the waves simply shoved the bow back on course, not allowing us to hold position long enough to furl the sail. Without being able to literally keep the wind out of our sails, we put too much pressure on our power winch.
Winch is good. Back downwind.
In the end, the continued attempts to point ourselves into the wind were only causing frustrations and discomfort, so we went back to the drawing board.
What's our speed?
4.2.
We decided not to reef the main, and instead shifted course enough to put the wind over our stern, and adjust the sails for wing on wing.
For our new angle, is the wind going to be predominantly on the starboard side or port side?
Predominantly starboard.
Because the wind would be predominantly over the starboard stern, Will let the main sheet out and secured the boom to port, and then began the task of deploying our whisker pole, something still fairly new to us. The whisker pole holds the gennaker open, allowing us to maintain momentum at a greater rate than if the sail continued to fall and fill. Think of it like trying to blow up a beach ball. The more air that escapes between breaths, the more breaths you need to fill it. The whisker pole acts like pinching the valve, keeping the air inside the ball between breaths. Again, in these choppy seas, the conditions aren't ideal for putting up the awkward, heavy pole, and we still feel like our technique needs serious refining. If you have any recommendations on making this process safer and easier, please let us know in the comments.
You got your gap? Oh, yeah.
Lost him right there.
Oh, my God. No way. 2 lures in one day. That sucks. Need some stronger line.
Yep.
Sorry, Lou. No sushi this time.
I got 2 fish on the hook today, got 0 on the boat. I just reeled in my line. We'll try again tomorrow.
Would you like to tell us what happened?
Yeah, the first one I didn't reel in fast enough and a shark got it. And the second one I reeled in too fast and the line snapped. The third time would have been just right.
How did you do, puppy pal? You look much better now than you did when we were getting big rollers up the butt. Yeah, hi. Hey, good boy.
Despite the trials and tribulations of the day, offshore sunsets always deliver. As the wind settled down and the waves calmed their thrashing, we went into the night feeling both exhausted from the eventful initial 12 hours of the journey and optimistic of the lessons learned and experience gained.
The sun has just set. It is behind the mountain now, and night shift is beginning. So we do 3-hour night shifts. Will is going to take the 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock shift. I will go from 9 to midnight, and then he will go midnight to 3. And by that point, we'll be really close.
We sailed through the night, kissing our wind propulsion goodbye with speeds barely over 4 knots, and made it to the entrance of Francisquito Bay as the sun made its appearance the following morning. With a pleasant surprise from the neighborhood greeting committee, we dropped the hook and settled in for some much-needed sleep. Or so we thought.
All right, tell the people what's going on. The people want to know.
The people need to know. First of all, I gotta close off the house to the bees. They're vicious in these parts. We got in, we're both pooped, but it's really rolly right here. So we are going to pick up anchor and move over to that other anchor spot over there where it looks much calmer. We'll just double check with the binoculars, so we feel pretty confident that it's gonna be way more comfortable over there. So fingers crossed on that front. Anchor's up. We are off the boat for the first time since our 100-mile jump. Feels really good. There is a really nice little sandy beach just off the anchorage here. So we brought Ludog to the beach so he can stretch his old little legs. He's having a great time over there.
Francisquito was like returning to Camelot after another successful leg of the journey. We got to rest, recuperate, and reflect on our latest experience, all while enjoying the beautiful, serene environment. No better method than finding the pot of gold at the end of a rainbow to embolden us on our quest to sail everywhere. And if that doesn't work, there's always UFOs.